All right. So next bit that we're looking at is time series. So anything where you collect it over time. So whether that's hours, days, months, years. But you are interested in how that changes with time, then that's a time series. And time always goes on that horizontal axis, so it's always your EV, explanatory variable. So Alright, so you already said when we're graphing it, time is on the horizontal, so the explanatory variable. Alright, patterns. So the patterns with time series, they're a bit more complex. You tend to get quite a lot more ups and downs. So patterns can be complex. But some can be observed. Alright, so what sorts of patterns are there? So patterns, there could be a trend. So in other words, over time, it may increase or may decrease, even though it is going up and down a bit, the overall might be to increase. So a trend, we would say, an increase or decrease over time. So you might have an example, here's one here. So you might have something that goes like this. Something like that, whereas you have a lot of ups and downs, but over time it's generally, I would say there, it's an increasing trend or an upward trend. All right, other patterns can occur on a regular basis, ups and downs, so this that are described for those. So one of them is what we would call seasonal patterns. And so they would be regular fluctuations. up and down. Spelt that wrong. Forgotten. There you go. Up and down, which occur over the same similar time period. And so short-ish time periods. So the time periods we talk about might be week, month, quarter. So, for example, power use tends to be more in summer when you're using your air conditioner, more in winter because we need lights on longer, and not so much in spring and autumn. So something which has a seasonal pattern might look something like this. Alright, where these high points are all about the same. All these high points all occurring about the same time apart. So something like that, because this is time. Now you have other patterns that occur over longer periods of time, and they are what's known as cyclic. And so they generally occur over periods greater than a year. So something which would do that would say be the economy. Might do something like that. Alright, then another thing that we have is what's called a structural change. And this that I've got here shows structural changes. And structural changes are just big variations that occur. So this one's going up and then down and up. And so that would be, while it's a seasonal pattern because it's regular, it's also what would be termed as a structural change. So it's going down and then bang, it goes up and then it goes down. So there's a big change. It's not like a slower change. Alright, so structural change, that's cool. Structural change, sudden movements in the pattern. Outliers, the same. We have outliers in these time series as well. again, as we know, they're values that stand out. So an example of that might be something like this, where you've got some ups and downs occurring, and all of a sudden, bang. You have this one here that stands out, so this data point down here would be your outlier. Can't spell. Alright. And then the last one is what we would call random. And random is simply something that doesn't fit into those other categories. All right. Okay, so let's do an example. We can sketch these on our class pad. So let's look at an example. let's get that down before I explain what this middle row that I haven't put anything in is for. Alright, so this, one of the things that's often done, because here in this case we've got years, and the numbers are quite big going from 2004 to 2015, and when you ask the calculator to do it, yes you can get your calculator to do it, but you've got to fiddle around with your scales and that sort of thing. So the common thing that we do is use the year number. So we put a 1 there, and so that's year number 1, and then year number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So when we go and put this in our calculator that we're going to do in a minute, we use this one. So we put this one in list 1, and then this stuff here in list 2. Alright, so it's pretty common practice rather than using what the actual, or even the months. So say for example, you got months rather than using January, February, etc. Particularly if you go over a year and you've got more months, you just assign the first month that you're looking at as month 1, and then number them and so on. So here, first year that we're looking at is 2004, and so we label that as year number 1. So that then when we come to our calculator and statistics, let's get rid of all that stuff. Then we just, in list 1, number it through, in this case, through to 12. Alright, and then we put the other data, whatever it is, in the next one, so 0.807. And so on. I didn't prepare this one earlier, so you have to bear with me while I type it in. Right, looks like I made a mistake here with this one. It's that year 3, 893. Alright, so then when we want to sketch it, scatter plot. Now when we're doing time series, what you can use is this one underneath the scatter, the one that says XY line. So what that will do is that will join up all of those points. So remember, the scatter plot just puts dots on there. But if you put XY line, it's going to join them up. And so the squares will still mark each individual one, and then the XY line will join them up. So put that there, and then click, and there it is. All right, so the XY line bit is this that's joining it up, and it just makes it easier to see if there's what sorts of fluctuations there are. All right, so describe any trends. So when we look at that, what do we see? Overall, what would you say? Downward trend overall. So overall, downward trend. Anything else? A couple of areas here where you've got some quite significant variations. So you probably say in that then you have a couple of structural changes. And it looks like here at the second year, 2005 looks like. And then these ones down here, whatever years they are, 2014 and 2000 and whatever it was, 15, 14, 13, 12. Right, not sure if I've entered 2012 incorrectly, to be honest. 2012, which is number 9. No, I haven't. Have I? 846, not 856. Yep, so not in 2012. So 2005 and 2014 is quite a significant change at those points. All right, so that's exercise 6A. Got that on your work. Have you got that work plan? No. Yes, no. Is that on the work plan? No, it's not. I'll have to get that one right.